Hi there, this is Kelly. In editing the podcast, I decided it was best if perhaps we left it to the listener to decide if they would like to see what Christian has linked to in his Instagram account. Let's just say it's very specific, very unique, and quite possibly of an extremely adult nature. So, if you're interested, he provided you his Instagram information. Have at it.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Squat Cobbler. This is, I guess, Alpha Prime Squat Cobbler, Alpha Squat Cobbler, the first Squat Cobbler. You nurture and support fans out there weren't getting anything, and so Mike and I decided what's slightly better than nothing. We do a podcast for a while called Squat Cobbler and kind of do the same deal. Recommendations, have some folks on, have some fun. So I'm Kelly Toole at KELLYTHUL on Twitter, and the squat of the Squat Cobbler show is our good friend Mike.
Hello, everyone. On Twitter, I'm at official Pagan. I would like to thank Kelly for giving me the opportunity to co-host this short-run podcast with him, especially because he's managed to stay out of jail long enough this time that we can record something together, which is always nice. Just remember, it's 500 yards from every school.
It's a hard distance to gauge.
It is. It's tough, especially, when camera lenses are so good. And we have a special guest with us. I'm not going to say his last name because apparently I mispronounced it when I was previously on Nurture and Support. Christian, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Christian Menses.
Get that, Mike?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to be very upset if you say it wrong again.
I would never do that. Never. I blame the drugs the first time.
Okay, that's fine. That's actually how I got the name, was a lot of drugs.
There you go.
It started out originally when it first was given to me. Obviously, it's not my real name. Nobody needs to know that. It's supposed to be Christina Menses, and I was going to do everything in drag, and I just don't look that good in a dress because I don't have an ass, so I changed it to Christian.
That makes sense. Because at first when you said that, I was like, hey, why are you not in drag right now? But if your ass doesn't look good in a dress, your ass doesn't look good in a dress.
I have makeup on if that makes you feel better.
Nice. Kelly, how do you look in drag?
I'm kind of a looker, as you might expect, but I think don't sell yourself short because you are quite the attractive nun. You can rock the habit.
Yeah, I know. I was not going to sell myself short. I actually have, it's weird. I was going through some old pictures yesterday. I posted a picture of me at like 3 playing guitar. I was going through these old pictures, and there's like pictures of me like as a kid, and it was Halloween, and I have like a ball gown on or something like that. And then it's like the next Halloween, and I have a different dress on. And then it's like clearly summer. I'm like sitting next to a pool on a lounge chair, and I have a different dress on. So apparently that caught on for a while for me.
That was just last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, you weren't supposed to give that away. I was trying to push kid, and Christian's like, yeah, I was there. I'm in that picture.
It was all good until you started making me touch you.
You loved it.
Alrighty, gang, we'll go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and do the first recommendation, and this one's probably an acquired taste, and particularly during this time of the year, we got the political season going on, and I just came across this. I'd always kind of like Gore Vidal and William F. Buckley are like real interesting guys. You just kind of catch little snippets of them, and they talk, and they're really, really intelligent. I don't understand most of what they say, but they're kind of interesting guys. And way back in the day, way back in 1968, ABC was the worst network out there. It was having horrible luck, and they had the conventions coming up, and they said, we need to do some sort of stunt. We need to do something to get better attention. So they decided they would put Buckley and Vidal at both conventions, Miami for the Republicans and Chicago for the Democrats, and they would, the 5 nights of each convention, they would come on afterwards and debate. And they loathed each other. They truly hated each other, and it's a fascinating thing to watch as it progressively gets more and more pointed to the extent where they almost come to blows at the Chicago convention when Vidal throws out, he calls Buckley a crypto-Nazi, to which Buckley said, I'm ready to sock your face. So it was very interesting to kind of watch. But
I feel like Crypto-Nazi has to be an industrial band.
It should be, and I don't know, is that like a Frozen Nazi? I'm not sure what a
I think Nazi Pops would actually be a better band name.
Oh, that is really good.
That's much better. which probably neither Buckley or Vidal would be a participant in. But they're brilliant guys. You watch very interesting ways for them to turn around and insult each other through the process, and you just see this contempt oozing through them on a regular basis. What's kind of interesting is John Lithgow and Kelsey Grammer. There's parts where most of this is the actual footage, and they're just kind of showing it. But every once in a while there was a letter written by this guy or whatever, and Lithgow does Buckley and Kelsey Grammer does Gore Vidal, and so they do the reading on it. Because I went through and I looked it up on IMDb, and it said Kelsey Grammer and John Lithgow, and I'm like, I really didn't see them walking around at the convention, but they do the voices for it. But it just basically kind of chronicles all the way through. You get to see two guys that really hate each other's guts go at it verbally and then almost physically. It's also kind of interesting because the Chicago 68 convention, there was some other action that went on during that, and so you get kind of that template through there. So it might be a good warm-up before the conventions come this year, because I have a feeling the conventions this year might also be a little bit exciting, have a few interesting things. So it was an interesting time in the thing, so wanted to kind of throw that out as my recommendation for the first Squat Cobbler. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Christian.
Christian what?
Menses. Google it, understand what it means.
Homework. Excellent.
My whole life has revolved around periods, go figure. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm horrible because I'm so self-absorbed into my own life I don't look at anything or listen to anything anymore. So I'm going to give you a band that actually I just saw 2 nights ago in Brooklyn called Bird Cloud. They're a country duo from Nashville, straight-up country girls, but they are all about alcohol, drugs, and anal sex, apparently. It's very interesting. They've actually...
Just like Grandma.
Yes, actually, my grandmother liked it. Go figure. But I first heard of them with a song called Saving Myself for Jesus. The whole song, they pretty much go through all the things you can do to them, but fuck them traditionally because that's for Jesus. So they're my kind of girls. Went to the show the other night. There was a lot of tequila shots. There were glasses being thrown, gin being spit on people. It was a good time. So I suggest everybody check them out. You can find them at birdcloudamerica.com.
Now, Kelly, does that sound like the kind of show you would go to?
I think I could do that. I'd rather have alcohol served to me than spit on me, but if it's available...
I feel like it depends on who's spitting it on you, though.
Yeah, I mean, I like my ladies trashy, so, any girl that wants to spit gin on me, I think is marriage material.
I was just about to say, and you didn't propose right there.
I know. I proposed to her the last time I saw him about 6 months back, and she did agree. So
this is already congratulations.
That's
sir.
Right.
No, well, right now I have to, I guess, look into moving to Utah and becoming Mormon to make that work.
Well, you had me until the Mormon thing, because I was just about to say, I don't know if you know this, but I am an ordained minister.
I am as well, actually. Universal Life Church.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, they ordained me when I was 16.
I can't remember when I did it. Did you do it for the right reasons, and by that I mean a tax write-off?
No, I just did it because I like cults.
Oh, okay. No, I did it so that we could sell Reverend Mike T-shirts and not pay taxes on them. I mean, for God.
Oh, I got that.
In case anybody from the IRS was listening. I totally meant for God.
I've been on this long-standing thing where I do want to go to Utah and become Mormon just so I can teach them what they're doing wrong. They have all these multiple wives, but they don't all have, orgies every night, that each woman has a separate bedroom. It's completely fucked up. If I'm going to deal with multiple women, I'm going to get something out of the deal.
That makes sense. See, the thing that bothers me about polygamy is the multiple house idea. That just seems like a ridiculous expense. What do all these husbands do for a living that they can afford this?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it enough, but the whole thing seems irrational with, like you said, the multiple houses, nobody's coming together. It's wrong. I think there's ways to improve upon this model.
What do you think, Kelly?
So I'm trying to figure out how much is involved to become an ordained minister here. Step me through this a little bit, guys. Since you
feel like if the two of us can do it.
I feel pretty left out right now.
It's really simple. If you go to the Universal Life Church in Modesto, California, I mean, they'll ordain your dog or your goldfish. They don't care. Just send them a letter saying you want to be a minister. It's probably like $15 or whatever the hell it is, and they send you a certificate. It's totally legal. I have a priest collar, too.
That should be the recommendation right there.
Yeah, that's my official recommendation. Go listen to Bird Cloud and become a minister.
In reverse order, though. Become a minister, then listen to Bird Cloud. I'm sure that they need more minister fans.
They probably do. I may be the only one.
You need a strong clergy base when you're in a band.
Never
You
heard
do.
of
I think, that's really your bread and butter because the clergy people are actually going to buy your product and not just steal it.
Yeah. So Kelly, did Christian convince you to become an ordained minister yet?
Yeah, it would be inappropriate for me to be logging in now to do it, but as soon as the show's over, I'm on my way.
You can forgive yourself too when you're done. And I heard that you can write things off on your taxes. And on that note, there's Reverend Mike T-shirts if anyone's interested.
We'll put a link into the blog post.
Do I get one for doing the show?
A Reverend Mike shirt? They're only baby doll cut, but yes, absolutely.
Have you ever seen me in a baby doll?
No.
I have a really cute Bowie one. I'll wear it for you sometime.
Okay. So yes, you're gonna get one. Just tell me what size you want.
The smallest one you got. I want to leave a lot exposed.
Okay, that makes sense.
Don't you have Reverend Mike in toddler size though, Mike? It's, onesies and that.
We did do a Pagan onesie once, but I don't know. It wasn't like I wanted to put like crazy shit on it, and then I wasn't sure who would actually buy that for their baby.
I used to have back in the day when I still had Toxic Shock running thongs with Toxic Shock on it, which I still find ironically funny.
Did you sell a lot of those?
Yeah, actually, anyone I made I sold because they're not here anymore. So somewhere there's some really classy women running around with my underwear.
Listen, I feel like any woman who's a fan of you is a classy woman, though.
I appreciate that. All two of
Whether
them.
they were lucky enough to buy that thong or not.
I gave a lot away, too, to be fair.
Kelly, if you were going to make your own brand of thongs,
Yeah.
what would your thong say? What would the official Kelly Tool thong say?
Probably Mike made me do this. I think that would be.
Okay, so also for sale is going to be Mike made me do this thongs.
I think he could also go with the Mikey likes it.
Either way, Kelly, it's your call. It's your thong.
Okay, I'll priorities. I got ordaining to do.
Right.
Let me get.
Become a minister first, because this would be weird if you just put out your own thong and you weren't a minister first.
Got to have a balanced approach.
Absolutely. So I guess it's my recommendation then?
Yes, it is, sir.
Okay, so do you guys like cassette tapes?
Absolutely.
Like old school.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sure you're aware then that, bands have been putting their stuff out on cassette again, and that's sort of making a little bit of a comeback. So my recommendation is they finally released a soundtrack to the old 80s horror movie Night of the Demons, and it's on cassette tape. So my recommendation isn't just the soundtrack for that, it's that you specifically buy it on cassette tape, because you should own cassette tapes. If you haven't seen Night of the Demons, it has maybe the greatest opening in film history because it's animated. And any movie that's not for children that has an animated title sequence is a near perfect film, in my opinion, just right off the bat.
So I've not seen Night of the Demons, but I'm intrigued.
Well, I mean, obviously, I don't want to go too much into the film because, the film isn't the recommendation, the soundtrack is, but your life isn't really complete. I'm really, really glad that we're doing this podcast because now you're going to be a minister, you're going to have your own brand of thongs, and you will have seen Night of the Demons. So I feel like Christian and I really enriched your life today.
It's taken a turn. I'll give you that. Many unexpected things today.
This is not where you saw your day going when you woke up this morning?
Not exact, no.
You weren't like, by the end of today, I'll be a minister with his own line of thongs.
That was...
I almost said women's thongs, but that's gender biased.
Are there
Anyone
men's
can wear them.
thongs?
There has to be, right?
I mean,
you could put
I've
a
never
woman's
looked.
thong on, I heard.
I'm actually wearing right now. I'd show you, but we're classy today.
The audience at home would be missing out anyway, because this is just audio, so...
You could Google me. I'm sure you can find me in women's underwear somewhere.
Kelly, if we Googled you, could we find you in women's underwear somewhere?
No, you couldn't, as a matter of fact. I don't believe.
You know better than to put those pictures up online, is what you're saying.
That's right. You keep those in a different place. So, nope, none of that. I'm a pretty boring Google search, actually. I think Christians will be more interesting for the listeners at home.
Yeah, but it's me and Mike were talking about this earlier. It's not for me. It's great. I come up as number 1 and 2, and then you start getting into all this really weird stuff about religious takes on periods. So I don't know. I'm more fascinated by the stuff that's not me when I Google myself.
How often do you guys Google yourselves?
I'm Googling myself right now, actually.
Yeah, it's not code, but yeah, on occasion, been a hard day,
Like, man, I could use a good Googling right now.
That's right. Just see what's up.
Back to cassette tapes.
See, I could tie that in, actually, with my recommendation. Bird Cloud's newest album, Tetanus, is available on cassette, so people should go buy it. Just make it a cassette day. Go buy everything you can find on cassettes.
You absolutely should. And in fact, there's this band Pagan that's going to put out their album Dead Girls on cassette.
We should do 8-tracks.
I would love to. I actually priced it out for one of the older albums because there was a place that was doing 8-tracks. So if we can, I will.
Does anyone still have an 8-track player?
Is it weird that I'm not concerned by that? Like I just want.
No,
I just.
wouldn't either. I mean, nobody listens to the shit I do anyway, so I could put it out, carved in a fucking rock, and it wouldn't matter.
But if you do that, guys, if you do an 8-track version, what you've got to do is have a section of the song that simulates, when you kind of starts to run and you hear the kind of click, when it need to make that actually part of the song to kind of throw people off to think that it's changed the track, but it hasn't.
It's a good idea. I like that.
I like that too. We're stealing that.
Totally.
But you've given me so many great ideas today.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly.
I'm glad we can all share and enrich each other's lives.
There you go.
That's what I feel like we're doing here today. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of all the cassettes. In fact, I have a stack of new cassettes in front of me. Like I have the most recent Slayer album on cassette, Carcass, Mayhem, all that good stuff. But the Night of the Demon soundtrack is great. So if you like 80s movies, as I'm sure everyone listening to this does, and I mean 80s movies in the best and worst way at the same time.
Like Frankenhooker.
Right. It's very much in line with that type of thing, and it has a very 80s-centric soundtrack, so there's really no better way to appreciate it than to listen to it on cassette. And the cassette tape itself is red. I feel like that brings it back to Christian's name, and I thought about this.
Now, I have a question for you, though. So you're
Sure.
super fascinated by cassette tapes.
Yes.
Do you still watch your porn on VHS?
So I do have a bunch of VHS tapes still. What I'd like to do is to make new porn on VHS.
Like starring yourself?
Well, I mean, I guess I
Or
would
do you want to
direct.
direct others?
I want to
Okay,
direct, yeah. I'm more of the creative person. It's about the art for me when I do pornography. Kelly, when you do porn...
Priorities, that is way down. I got it. Let me focus on the minister thing. Let me cross a hurdle at a time.
It's better if you're a minister first.
That's
I was
right.
actually Googling
Something doing something.
the other day. I posted it up on Instagram. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't see that.
I suggest you check the link because it was really interesting. So if anybody else wants to see that, just go to my Instagram. It's at Christian Menses. I think there's an underscore in the middle. I posted some quality links to some.
Something doing something.
That sounds like a social media recommendation, Kelly.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm sorry, I guess I jumped the gun on that one.
Well, there you go.
No, but
So-
that's good. I did not have one prepared.
You can use mine.
No, that was yours. It was perfect. It was beautiful.
Well, and we can I think we had talked about just throwing a couple here and there on the social media recommendations. I did have one to wrap up this fascinating first show of Squat Cobbler.
I'm so not being invited back.
Oh, no, you're absolutely coming back if you want. So while it may pale in comparison to Christian's recommendations, a little more mainstream. I came across, she's an artist, her name's Allison Jardine, and her Twitter handle is Allison with one L, ALISON, JARDINE. She's an artist. She pretty regularly puts a lot of her stuff out, and it's all pretty fantastic. She's been a great follow. I'll retweet her stuff a lot because she just does some pretty cool stuff. If you're looking for somebody that does some pretty good art, if you're not looking at other things, there you go. So that'll be my recommendation for the week.
You should definitely do both.
At the same time, if you can, get one on
At
your
the
phone,
same
one on your
time.
computer, just merge.
Become a minister first. Then
Always.
check both of the link. Yeah.
It doesn't take much. They'll send it to you real quick.
Excellent.
If we can do it, literally anyone can do it.
And on that note, I think we'll wrap up show number 1. And Christian, thanks for coming. It's awesome for you to make the time and join us today.
Yeah,
Mike,
anytime.
excellent. Mike, you were what was expected.
That's all I shoot for.
Well, we're going to shoot with the same kind of nurture and support approach. Once a week, we'll be dropping these out. So sometime Friday morning, the new podcast will be out, and Mike and I will busily kind of try and get a few more queued up and get back to releasing podcasts once a week for a while until things work out, and then nurture and support zooms back in, and Mike returns to guest status.
Or never a guest again status.